the heck happened to Call of Duty? That's the question everyone's been asking for quite some time. And today we're gonna get to the bottom of it. So strap in, because this one's gonna be bumpy. Look, there's been a lot of creators talking about all the stuff going on within the Call of Duty space. I mean, for one, of course, we have JackFrags, but we also have JGod making multiple videos talking about it, Swagg now talking about it, and obviously who the heck cares that creators have something to say, but we're gonna be talking about it because wait a minute, who the heck cares? Okay, anyway, let's discuss basically what's going on. So we're gonna be looking at a video by JGod. Of course, you're gonna say it's a reaction video, but the more important thing is that I have a couple of points that I wanna make, and I have those kind of laid out at the top. Let me just get rid of this bookmarks bar. But I have those laid out at the top. That way that we kind of can get to it quickly and I won't waste my time and more importantly, waste your time. So off rip, let's go ahead and talk about JGod's recent video titled, "We Need to Talk About Call of Duty." And of course, we are gonna be checking out some of the comments as well, because I think they raise some valid points. Now, let's go ahead and dive in.
With yesterday's video, I thought it was worth having a little bit of a chat, a little bit calmer. Obviously, that video was a little bit more of a crash out after playing for 12 hours.
I'm going to pause just so y'all can see what I'm talking about, or what he's talking about, I guess. He titled his video, "Warzone, It Might Actually Be Over." This video got 232,000 views. To be clear, that is one of his highest viewed videos in months. That is crazy. And it's because people are feeling left out, lost, confused as to what the hell happened at Call of Duty. And obviously there's some explanations that are more political, but I'm not going to go into those. I think y'all can figure that one out on your own. But I would like to keep my career, and Lord knows that's asking for a big fat L. Either way, let's keep going.
Running into multiple issues and kind of going through a bunch of stuff. But I want to give out a few different ideas to talk about kind of like the state of the game and kind of the direction of the game and kind of what the cadence is going to be of videos, because there's a lot of issues that it comes out. Obviously, we're primarily a Warzone channel, even though people say, oh, it's a Call of Duty channel. We don't really cover multiplayer other than the exception of maybe when the game first drops. Zombies, we don't really touch much on, even though I do stream quite a bit of zombies and probably have more playtime in zombies than multiplayer and Warzone combined this year. I would almost.
And all of this, by the way, I would like to say, like, no one cares. I'm not talking smack about JGod, but when it comes to us, to creators, the one thing that I have learned, and this doesn't even have to do with being a creator, is that no one cares. No one cares what you do, what I do, what we do, what we have to say in the long term of things. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate the hell out of y'all. I'm so glad that I have such a great community that watches my content. But in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter what we do. But in JGod's case, he's talking about something that is more around the lines of what he does regularly, because people are kind of confused whenever it comes to why is he talking about Call of Duty at large? Why is he not doing multiplayer? Why is he not playing this game, that game, the other game? And I fall into a similar category where I love Warzone. I love it. I mean, I really, really do. I want to see this game succeed. It is my passion. And I know that sounds goofy and people are always like, Expel, why don't you play another game? Why don't you make videos on another game? And I think JGod's about to go on, and I will let you know, I did watch this one time through to make sure that it was worth even talking about. JGod's going to go on to explain something that I think is so important for everyone to hear, and it's the one thing that creators need to talk about a little bit more often.
Bet on it. But regardless of that, our content, that's not why people come here. I post a zombies video. You guys don't care. You guys are here for Warzone, and that's right. Fair. But that also means I have a responsibility to cover the state of the game. And
responsibility is a very important word there, and something that a lot of people miss out on is a creator's responsibility. Somebody with a large audience, we carry a certain amount of responsibility. With great Call of Duty viewers, with great Call of Duty viewers comes great responsibility. That's what they really said in the Spider-Man.
At least kind of where it's at, regardless if it's good or bad. In a perfect world, there wouldn't be certain issues and I'd be able to just gas up the game. Mm-hmm. And as people say in the comments, even in the last video, which was essentially just bashing all the issues, which are unacceptable, people were like, oh, you're just glazing the game. I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, I don't even know if they're just doing it to troll at this point.
It's so crazy. I have had so many times, and I'll go to my channel to show you this. I've had so many times where people are like, God, all you do is say good things about the game. And you're a cheater. You're a cheater too, and you cheat on the game and you make money doing it and this, that, and the other thing. But if you actually went to my channel, right, you see all these like nicer videos right here. You know, we're going back to play other games. We've got spectating, 10KD player, so spectating, random duos. This video was reacting to JackFrags, which is the first time I've done a reaction video really in a little bit. But we've got all these videos that are really fun. But then if you get back to around the December time frame, you'll notice it's bad video. Bad video right here, lost the identity. Bad video right here, bad video right here, bad video right here, bad video, bad video, bad video, bad video, bad video. Like over and over and over, and people will still say, God, anytime you say something good, you're on the game. It is insane, like the way that people exist that say stuff like that. It's like genuinely laughable that people think that if you say something good, you're glazing. If you say something bad, all you do is hate on the game. It makes no sense. And those people, to be fair, probably should be at a mental institution because, I mean, zero self-awareness, zero world awareness, zero perspective on life whatsoever. Like, brother, we're sitting here playing a video game. Let's be real. Like, does any of this even matter? But it's just so crazy that someone gets so worked up that they call somebody out. You're just sucking down a game, brother. Like, what, dude?
Because there's no way your brain can function and think I've been glazing the game for 2 or 3 years.
Poor JGod too. I mean, if you look at his videos, like if I was to go through and look at the number of times he's making either this face on the right, he's making this face where he's sad, this face. I mean, like, dude, it is crazy. Oh, be careful, everybody. He's got a good video right there. He said they're listening. Everybody calm down. And then, unplayable problems. Finally fixing. That's kind of good. That's kind of good. And if you just go through all the videos, you'll notice that basically 1 out of 4 or 1 out of 5 is him being like, hey, what the hell's going on over at Call of Duty? Can we maybe get this thing figured out so I can do my job? Because people are just so lost when it comes to this stuff, and they never recognize the reality of the situation. They don't do a quarter of like literally it's 8 seconds. It would take 8 seconds of their life to do that. Like less time than it would take to write out the comment or the tweet or the response or whatever to whatever he's saying. It's crazy.
Consistent issues since Warzone 2. I think there was a bit of a recovery in Warzone 3 or MW3's life cycle. The game, I think, was pretty well supported in multiplayer and Warzone overall.
Absolutely.
And it kind of got...
Which is ironic because multiplayer was basically a bunch of remade maps. And Warzone was, for the most part, I feel like pretty decently lazy. I mean, they used the same map for Warzone as they did for zombies, but they did change some POIs twice throughout the year. We got some changes
dialed in, and then some changes happened with this integration, and it seemed like multiplayer is doing well. There are some obviously issues
not multiplayer,
but can be covered, but it's way more minimal. I know XclusiveAce does a pretty good job of covering the multiplayer stuff. And then zombies, they get a new map for basically every season, and that's kind of enough. But when it comes to Warzone, there's different expectations with it being a free-to-play game.
Yep.
And the cadence of the updates and the way things should work. And there's a little bit of a fatigue that happens from year after year. And this is kind of what we've experienced because...
To be clear, the fatigue that is happening is not because of a game getting old. I want to be very clear about that. Any fatigue that is happening within Call of Duty has purely to do about the fact that we're tired of them doing the same old thing. Like we expect mistakes every single time. But when you look at a game like Fortnite, I get it, completely different engine, completely different team, lots more people working over there on that game. I get it. But when you look at Fortnite and you see, all right, so it is possible to launch something that just works. What are they doing over at Call of Duty? So that's where the fatigue sets in, just to be clear.
every integration, there's been hiccups, and it's sad that we expect there to be hiccups.
Oh my God.
Even with Verdansk 84, there were some issues that ended up getting settled pretty quickly. I remember you couldn't reload with any of the Cold War guns, and there was other bugs that happened. It's not like,
to be clear, there were a ton of bugs, a ton. Basically, when Cold War came through, every bug that happened in Verdansk, they basically rehashed them. And my guess is that they had to step back a little bit. They had to rewind just a hair to get all this stuff to work in the game. And maybe I'm completely wrong, but it seems like that's what happens every time, is that there's always this little break off, right? Like the both of the games are kind of going like this for just a second. And then, you know, for Modern Warfare 3, Warzone, we're going straight. And then you got Black Ops right here. And at some point, Black Ops is just going to take this turn. And when they take that turn and Modern Warfare keeps going right here, the only thing they can do is snap back to right here. So they lose all the progress from here to here. So they literally have to just rebuild it over and over and over because these other companies are building the game out in different ways, which, to be clear, is completely fine. There's absolutely no issue with that. The problem, realistically, is that Warzone is not standalone. And because it's not standalone, you end up with these problems where every time there's a new integration, which they do every single time, and it's stuck in this COD HQ, so it has to run on the same engine and have the same assets and all this other stuff, you get this massive game file, you get these bugs that just come back every single year. That's the issue. That is the problem right there.
There were the game's nostalgia, rose-tinted glasses, that those things didn't exist then. It's just that they did exist.
I would also like to remind everybody that Infinity Ward sucks ass. I don't know who needs to hear this. Whoever makes the decisions at Infinity Ward on the speed of the games, it has nothing to do with the casual player. It has all to do with how they can maximize EOMM. That is it. Just to be clear. Infinity Ward is the worst company for this. They don't care about fun. They are, and I think Treyarch's starting to tickle their toes right into that area. But Raven tries their best to focus on fun, and I respect the hell out of that. But the issue is that some of these other companies do not do that. They do purely data driven, which means purely data focused on engagement optimized matchmaking to make sure that people are spending the most amount of money. So maybe if they do that, then they'll make more money and we'll sell more blueprints, yada, 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 yada. So Infinity Ward sucks ass, and they were the ones that made Warzone, but Warzone had more bugs than any other game I think I've ever seen when it dropped. And then Raven came along and all of a sudden they started fixing things and fixing things and then fixing things. And then Cold War dropped and, oh, well, oopsies, you know, like it's just so goofy.
Exist then. And then they existed again when Warzone 2 happened.
Yep.
And then it existed again when Warzone MW3 happened.
Because it's a constant
like there's
reverting.
A fatiguing factor where it's like, when is enough enough? Like, I know if I had worked at the studio, I'm sure the devs, there's a certain level of embarrassment that comes with that because based off what I've been told is there's like a different version of the game that they build off of that's not necessarily linked. So when it copies over, it creates issues, unexpected, but it is what it is. End of the day, they shouldn't happen.
You know, to be clear, I kind of want to touch on these bugs specifically. And I've laid out a couple of things. So first, when Season 2 dropped, I went on Twitter and I wrote this out. Hey, at Raven Software, in 2 games, 2 matches, just 2 matches of this stuff. In Season 2, I've learned loadouts still reset after a match. Guns still fall through walls. Utility boxes still work in gas. This was poorly written in the patch notes, and I think that it's supposed to work in gas. Parachutes now have a slight delay or will simply not open upon pressing. This is only for when you're using slide only, apparently. It works just fine whenever you're diving off of stuff. Maybe it's just when you're not diving off of stuff. I'm not 100% sure. Not a lot of people notice it. You would have to be pretty goddamn good to recognize the exact timing of your parachutes, and I'm not saying I'm the best in the world, but I'm good enough to recognize that, and I know that it's definitely a problem. Gas grenades are basically the same. I will not take these off of my class for that exact reason. They're absolutely broken. XM4 is the exact same. Broken meta. New perk is virtually useless. Now, I don't know if it's virtually useless. The perk, basically, you need to be barely hurt and not have time to plate, and then it'll help you. That just seems like, I don't know, maybe not the greatest. Most of the update is feeling nice, but some things, by the way, most of the update, I'm gonna get into this. is feeling nice, but some things that should have been fixed. I don't know why. That was terrible phrasing. Some things that should have been fixed are persisting through the update. And then also I came down here and I said, parachute is busted. I have on repeat tried to pull my parachute and it takes an extra second to open. I'll lose height. Then it won't let me release the parachute. So I'm stuck floating above the ground for an extended time and I die because the enemy is just getting free shots. Now someone did say something. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Buy stations didn't move as well. Someone mentioned something. I don't think I'm going to find it, but they said, oh, here. I can't believe you said that last part. Content's so stale, even mold won't eat it, right? So that guy said that, and I was like, well, I wasn't saying like there's content. I'm saying that the update, they're bug fixes. And if you didn't know, they had over 60 bug fixes. Look at this. Fixed an issue where the ghost perk, blah, 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 blah. Like, look how long this list is, my boy. Are you kidding me? They fixed all of that stuff from season 1. And if that doesn't tell you, there's a big issue with Black Ops or Infinity Ward's games or Treyarch's or Infinity Ward's or freaking Sledgehammer's game, like all these integrations. I think Sledgehammer ironically does the best now, which is wild because that's the game that made, or that's the company that made Advanced Warfare and World War II. Wild. Those ended up being great experiences, by the way, but whole different thing. But it is just so crazy to me that they have 60 things to fix every single patch. Now I said all that, but also at some point, and you might be asking yourself, Expel, why the hell do you even tag Raven? They don't read anything. Why do you tag Call of Duty? No one over there is reading anything. They don't care. I want you to know up front that that is not the case. I know, it's crazy. Call of Duty content creators saying people listen. That's wild. He's trying to gobble their... No, that is not what it is. I didn't believe the same thing. And then I got a DM from the Call of Duty influencer relations team letting me know that Raven appreciated the way that I worded some of my my tweets and that it wasn't me just like sending death threats, which is a crazy thing that the Call of Duty community will do over a video game. But they said, hey, I appreciate the way that you phrased it. Basically, it just made it easier for them to understand the things that needed to be fixed. So that's why I tag Raven Software now, is because I know that Raven actually cares, unlike the other companies. In fact, I'm 90% sure that whoever was in charge of Warzone 1 during like Infinity Ward's reign of terror, I'm 90% sure that guy had me muted on Twitter because I would tag him just all the time, talking mad smack about the problems in the game. So shout out to Raven Software for this. But anyway, I tagged Raven Software and I said, we need some transparency, Raven Software, in Call of Duty. What the hell is going on over there? Is this truly because of how poorly the setup? Is this truly because of how poorly set up the servers are? It seems like y'all plan for updates, get them set up, but then when they go live on a big server, it's all chalked every single time. There's been too many times where y'all have shit the bed based on what seems to be due to a process of sending the update live to everyone. If that's the case, try a different server provider. If you don't know, Google and Amazon, specifically Google, are the service providers that they use. And most likely Google is not providing servers that are great. And I'm not saying this isn't Activision's fault. They have a deal with Google, which is the whole reason that the CDL was on YouTube for the longest time, and probably I think it still is on YouTube, but they have a deal with them which basically gets them servers for cheap or for free. I'm not 100% sure which it is, but so Google/AWS isn't cutting it. Clearly this has gotten insanely old and you're consistently lowering the player count after every update. In my honest opinion, I believe the devs at Raven are getting their asses kicked based on Activision's greed. Engagement optimized matchmaking ruins wait times for matches. Forced playlist removal for that reason. Going live with updates breaks the fixes. Bad servers have a million problems and leads to the community uproar. Integrations are forced yearly, always picking up the pieces throughout the year, and when finally in a good spot, oopsie, new game time. Lack of communication because you're not allowed to be honest with the issues. We know it's a greed problem, by the way, because they are actually, in most cases, under NDA, which is why when I had a conversation some time ago on Twitter, and a ton of developers in the space said, you don't know what you're talking about. You're an idiot. You're an armchair developer. I don't know why they all sounded like Mickey Mouse, but they were acting like a bunch of assholes. I'll be honest. It's 2025, baby. I don't give a damn what you think, big dog. Y'all were being some dicks. With that said, When I had this conversation back in the day, no one gave an explanation as to what the hell was going on. I had over 1,500 quote tweets from literal developers within the gaming space, all throughout different communities in the gaming space. Not one singular person, by the way, I'm going to say, that wasn't a part of my community and was a developer for other things. Not one singular person in the current space gave an explanation as to why these issues existed in the way that they did, in the capacity that they did. The only thing that I understood based on that, and based on one person actually coming out and saying it, is that there are NDAs that keep them from doing it. That is what I got. Now, I'm not saying that's for everybody, but I do know that is the case for some of them, and that's why they can't communicate up front about why problems exist the way that they do. With that said, let's keep moving. Store is literally never broken, which is clear to everyone. While it's a different team, it causes a massive community uproar and seems incredibly tone deaf. On top of that, for some reason, the items literally from the store won't work, but you can buy them? How are we not fixing that? It's literal money going into your pockets. That's insane, bro. Oh my God. Activision refused to implement an anti-cheat in Warzone 1. It not only ruins the experience for everyone, but takes years to get one going. Activision force implements heavy reliance on AI systems that aren't ready for cheat detection. It does literally nothing and is so bad that cheat developers can surpass its systems, including the new kernel level driver that boots with your computer now within 24 hours consistently after every update. The shadow ban system is purely based on reports. I don't know if you know this. I don't know whose dumbass Call of Shame video you've been watching, but this dude is full of crap. Shadow bans, and I don't know, I'm starting to feel like chat bans, are all purely based on reports. I don't know if chat bans are, but my point is shadow bans are purely based on report. It has nothing to do with the anti-cheat detecting anything on your computer. If someone gets shadow banned, it is not because they are cheating. It's because they were reported. The reason that we know this is because if something is detected, you are immediately banned. We have seen this time and time again. If something is detected, it doesn't shadow ban you. It's not a question like, oh, maybe we've detected something. No, you are literally just instantly banned or temporary banned. It is not a shadow ban, which is it just putting you into limited matchmaking with other people that are shadow banned. That is the facts of it. Anyone trying to tell you differently is trying to manipulate you. I don't care who that person is. Any singular person trying to tell you differently is just trying to put money in their own pockets. It is all based on making us feel like they are doing something. It is a ploy, plain and simple. I don't care what anyone else has to say because it has been proven, factually proven a million times. I'm sorry, that was a big rant. Anyway, no one at Call of Duty actually looks at them, which we know for a fact because every single person gets out of the shadow ban loop at the exact same amount of time, depending upon what kind of shadow ban it is. Cheaters get out. I say what kind of shadow ban. When I say that, I mean there are people that can get into 48 hours, 5 days, 7 days, and 14 days. Those are your different shadow bans. We don't know the exact reasoning behind the difference in time, but from what I can tell, I think during Warzone 2, they did have people checking them, which is why sometimes people would get out within 48 hours. The other thing that I'm thinking is that now it actually is always pretty much 7 days, but I think the 48-hour ones were people that were repeat offenders of getting reported over and over and over, and they just give the thumbs up really quickly. That's my guess, in my personal opinion. Cheaters get out for free, but innocent players are stuck in the loop, and the reason why is because cheaters just switch accounts. They just switch accounts. So they have multiple accounts, so while their account is going through the shadow ban system, that's gonna get out for free because no one's checking their account. They just immediately switch to another account and keep going. And there's so much more. This doesn't even scratch the surface of the things that exist purely to keep extra money in the pockets of Activision, such as engagement optimized matchmaking and skill-based matchmaking, which literally are the most divisive thing in the community, and they've been lying about it for years. And it's insane to me that they've manipulated so many people, and everybody's like, nope, skill-based matchmaking is good. I want to play against people at my skill level. Buddy, that's not what you're doing. You're playing against the people that Activision wants you to play against so that you're playing longer. It has nothing to do with skill, buddy. Sorry, I'm on one right now. At what point do you think it's going to be enough? At what point do we say maybe we should focus on fun and the player experience? I can only imagine these are some of the lowest numbers the COD HQ, multiple games included, have had in years. And yes, Steam may only be 5 to 7% of the player base, but we can read the room. The question is, can you? Now, after this conversation was had, came out, they if I'm not wrong, mentioned something about being a little bit more transparent. Obviously, they read what I write in my stuff, but the specific verbiage of transparency, in my personal opinion, I find pretty hilarious. But either way, let's keep going with the JGod video, and let's see what else he has to say.
Because the company is, and hopefully they're able to get the resources they can, which I don't know if that's the case, because you look at the charts, you look at Steam, it looks like the game is dead as can be dead. But then you look at PlayStation and Xbox, it's the #1 selling game all year, every year, all month, every month.
And I have to know, this is why, and it's nothing against this dude. I mean, to be clear, this is why I always mention that Steam is 5 to 7% of the player base. I really wouldn't go full force into trusting things from people that use that as their metric. It's nothing against the guys that do online, like the dudes that make content and constantly show the Steam numbers. I get it. I fully get it. It's a point to say that you are lowering the player base. The problem is that Steam are the people that have about 400 other games that they could play and would rather just play PUBG. Like, that's the reality of it. So it doesn't make sense to use that as the numbers. But I would not fully trust anybody that's going that hard into the fact that the Steam numbers are down, and then they close their eyes and are like, what do you mean? There's PlayStation and Xbox? Does that really exist? I've never seen that. We don't even know the Battle.net numbers. Like, I think it's goofy.
At least until GTA comes out, and then that'll be the game of the year forever, because they've been working on it for like 2 decades or however long they've been working on that. But regardless of all that, I think the spirit of the content is that we all want the game to be better. Obviously, there's certain frustrations that happen and build up over time. I know you as players, a lot of you do not play other games, and that's a little bit unfortunate because there are a lot of good games out there. Me, this year, I've already played multiple games. We played a little bit of Path of Exile 2. We beat Slay the Spire, the Indiana Jones. I didn't really vibe with it that much, but I did play the new one. It was on Game Pass, so that was nice. You get a bunch of free games that way. And then I'm currently about halfway through Dark Souls 1. So there's a lot.
I think the sad part is when it comes to stuff like this, the only other game that I play is Zelda. That's it. I have to wait until a brand new Zelda drops and then I'll play it. I'm not like everybody else where I just play any game and every game that drops. I've never been that person. I have truly always been like play Call of Duty. I used to play Need for Speed. Really loved Need for Speed Most Wanted, the original, not the new one. The new one's all right. It's okay. It didn't feel the same. You just don't, I don't know, something about the last one. Oh, the first one, not the last one. The first one, man, that just hit. But I never really was one of those people that played other games. It was just always Zelda or it was Call of Duty. That was it. That was my whole thing. I mean, I used to play Sly Cooper, Jack and Daxter, really just the PlayStation hitters. Ratchet and Clank, my God, love Ratchet and Clank. I will play Ratchet and Clank. Every time it comes out, I will play Ratchet and Clank. But I'm not one of those people that play games that get released very often. I like very specific titles. A lot of it comes down to nostalgia, to be quite honest. So I wish that I could get into these games. I'm also just not like an MMO guy. I don't know. It's goofy. It's just me. I like single player games for the most part, unless it's Call of Duty.
A lot of other games to play. And that's not even the ones that are multiplayer that I'm just not interested in. I'm not interested in Delta Force. I'm not interested in Marvel Rivals. I'm not interested in Fortnite. There's a bunch of other games that you could play depending on your interests. But regardless.
Yeah, I think we fall into a similar category. He likes mostly single player games and stuff like that. I like mostly single player games, but just a different style.
You're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't when it comes to being a content creator. If I complain about anything, it's like, oh, bro, you're just hating. If I say anything positive, then it's like, bro, you're just glazing, you're gassing how much they paying you. And this was very...
Dude, the how much they paying you line is the craziest thing. Do y'all realize that Myth made $8,000 an hour when Modern Warfare 2019 dropped? Myth. Like, I'm talking about the dude that was like one of the top Fortnite streamers of the time and now holds like 50 to 100 viewers at any given moment. Myth got paid $8,000 an hour. This man made hundreds of thousands of dollars to play Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019. Do you think I would be here if I made 400 grand in 3 days? Do you think I'd be actively making these videos if Activision would toss and dough like that? No! Are you crazy? People that think that like all creators get paid are wild. Now, I will say there are some creators that, I swear to God, it makes me lose my mind. Some creators forget that this is a business and a livelihood, right? So they forget that the best way to build a business and livelihood is to be pretty honest, right? People appreciate being honest, being upfront, and communicating well with your community. So a lot of these creators that have been getting invited to some Call of Duty events lately, I've watched go from never chatting up the game to all of a sudden they're like, oh, God dang, son, Call of Duty sent me an invite. Let me make 14 videos talking about this new Squid Game thing, because maybe I'll get invited more in little things right there. Maybe that's how I pull it off. And I think that's a little cringe, to say the least. But if someone is getting paid by Call of Duty, they have to disclose hashtag COD partner or hashtag ad. Those are the two things. So if you're ever wondering if someone's actually getting paid by COD partner or paid by COD, that's what it is. Just to be very, very clear with you, don't get that confused. If they aren't doing it, they can get jail time and a massive fine. Usually just fines, but enough infractions could be pretty crazy.
Very evident if you go look at the JackFrags video that I reacted to.
Yep.
I don't really react to other people's videos too much on this channel. The second channel we went through a stretch with that, but for our channel, all it came down to is I don't really do that often. So when I did it, I started the video, and I disagree with JackFrags on Omni movement. I like it. I know there's a bunch of people that like it.
That was one that I disagreed on too. I think the Omni movement thing, like Omni movement, is way better than Modern Warfare 2019. Anybody saying otherwise, frankly, like, I don't trust anything you have to say. That's a lie. I mean, I just don't think you're thinking that much, right? I don't think you put a lot of thought into it. I don't think you've actually tried it all that much. I don't think you've put more than 10 minutes into double checking and making sure your settings are right. I don't think there's a lot of forethought and effort going into making sure that it does work, because Modern Warfare 2019, I went back and played it, and Omni movement is so much smoother. And for the casual player, will feel much better if they just automatically, if Call of Duty would do one thing, which is set up to where it automatically has sprint assist on, or tactical sprint assist on. Sprint assist would be fine. Tactical sprint assist would be better. And have the sprint delay set to 0. If that was for everyone, if that's how they set it up, every single player would love Omni movement. But the facts are that no one has that set up in the grand scheme of things. There is like the top 20% maybe actually have it set up. So 80% of players probably don't have their settings correct. That's the issue. And that's why most people don't like this Omni movement. So there were a few things, the JackFrags video, and the one thing that I noticed is, like, I got a lot of comments that were supportive, don't get me wrong, but the issue is when you disagree with another creator, if someone really stands that creator, right, they really love that person, I'll get comments from that person's community. Say, for example, I reacted to a Blame Truth video. I deadass stopped reading the comments. I gave up. His community, one of the worst communities I've ever read comments from in my entire life, and it's not because he's a bad guy. It's just because you build an audience based on talking smack, right? So while you could be a great dude, the smack talking audience is going to be pulled in. Go look at Call of Shame's comments, basically. Like, Call of Shame is a bunch of like crazy people, right? And so if you go to Blame Truth's video, like, you can see everybody's very passionate and kind of hateful about the things that they believe in, and it's because he's like yelling and screaming in his videos about stuff, and it has nothing to do, again, with whether or not he's a good or a bad guy. It's just because I had an opinion that was not the same as his opinion, and I reacted to his video, and everybody that watched his video came to my video, and they was all mad. And I was like, what do you want me to do? Not have an opinion? You want me to just shut up and just watch the video? That makes no sense. I'm going to agree with some things. I'm going to disagree with some things. That's how that works. That's life. Suck it up, Buttercup. I don't know what to tell you, but you don't have to be an asshole. Like, I think that's what it comes down to, and what he's saying right here is that he, just like me, disagreed with some things that JackFrags had to say, and that's okay. It's all right to have a different opinion, but the people out there, just like they build a connection with the person that they're watching, and it really messes up the way that they interact with other people. They kind of forget that other people are other people, and they just start like, oh yeah, You don't like what he had to say? Well, guess what, buddy? I don't like what he had to say. Like, that's how I imagine people that act like that. I feel like there's a lot of people that were like very well worded in the video about JackFrags, and I respect the hell out of those people. I loved reading the comments where I was like, I think I'm gonna stick with JackFrags on this opinion, but I appreciate what you said about this and that thing. I love when people communicate like that, but a lot of the time, most of the time, that is not how people talk whenever you're reacting to somebody else's content. I'll be honest. And I try to add as much value as I can and give my actual opinion and hopefully keep it a well-informed opinion by sharing what I'm experiencing and what I see around the community of other people experiencing. But it doesn't always mean that people are going to agree with my opinion of their opinion of Call of Duty. Yeah.
But I also know there's a bunch of people that hate it, and it's more of a settings issue, which that's on the devs for not making the settings better, because you shouldn't accidentally dive, which is the biggest complaint that people had. But people said just because I like it that I'm paid by. No, I like Omni movement, I like the MW3 movement, and I've liked movements prior. It's just kind of how it goes. But regardless of all that, there are other things that are issues, and there's other things that are probably issues, but I don't really care about. Like, if you equip a bundle, if you buy a blueprint and then you equip it in the store, and then you build your own class and you go into the game, it actually costs more from the buy station. It costs like double or whatever.
This is kind of what I was talking about earlier.
You get 6,000, so you kind of pay to lose, and
which is
for
crazy.
me, it's like I don't use them, so I don't really care.
For the record, it happens on regular blueprints too. It doesn't have to be a blueprint that you pay for. It happens literally on blueprints that you set up. I don't know if it's because at some point it had like 8 attachments or whatever, but sometimes I will set up a blueprint and it will still cost $6,000, even though it's the default weapon. I don't know why it works like that.
But it's still a problem, right? Like there's multiple other issues that you could agree to disagree on. You don't think that, Go should work while moving, or you don't think that heartbeat sensors should be a field upgrade instead of that. You don't like the satchels. Maybe you love the satchels. End of the day, there's a lot of the baseline stuff that I could jump on the game like I did today and play it. And I played for about an hour and I was having fun. But in my...
I'm gonna pause him right there. I too hop on the game and I have fun. The reason I play this game is because I love the freaking game. The reason I started making reaction videos back in October, November, December is because the game got a little miserable. Now, specifically, whenever November hit, it was really miserable. When it first dropped, it was impossible to play my favorite mode, which is solos. So whenever I try to hop into solos, there's this big issue where every time there's a bug, you will die, right? So if I hop into solos and I die, that's the end of the video. That's it. That's the end of the game for me. But if I hop into duos, I have a teammate that can help me. So something like dynamic lighting just absolutely taking a dump on you, teammates there to back you up, right? You go on a ladder, you jump off, parachute pulls, you're like, what the hell? Teammates there to back you up. Like in all the instances where you have a glitch, your teammate can help you out. So that's why I was playing duos at the time, but when I didn't have pipe there, what was I gonna do, bro? I didn't have my freaking duo there, bro. So during that time, it felt like kind of like funky. So I wanted to make reactions, kind of communicate my opinion. And so what we'd do is we'd go through and we'd find videos that we felt had a similar opinion, but also could use a little bit of a little step up, something that's around 10 to 15 minutes so that I could communicate. And we'd react to them. And we'd add in information. We'd share what extra stuff that we have, and we'd share experiences. But it's so goofy because when you hop on and you're trying to have a good time and the game's just taking that away from you, it sucks, dude. I mean, it is not good whenever you're having a good time and they just yoink it away for some bug that shouldn't even be there.
First match, I run into an issue where after the update, it's in the patch. It says, hey, we're going to fix this issue, this bug, where that if you pick up a gun, you won't lose your gun or whatever the case is. I go and I'm trying to pick up a field upgrade. And then when I go and grab it, I lose my gun. And this was my first match. And then I went on to play about 4 or 5 other matches. And no, I didn't run into any other bugs. So
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Basically, that exact same thing just kept happening to me on repeat. And I didn't know what to do because when you do that in solos, and you lose your weapon, what do? mid gunfight where you're trying to pick something up that you absolutely need. Like that's what I was getting at.
I did have a blender game, which is pretty normal on Rebirth. You kind of just get kind of caught in the blender if your teammates aren't shooting, and you're playing with random, so you can't really expect much. But at the end of the day, I was having fun, but that bug was like something I had to run into. If maybe that match didn't happen and then I had 4, then I'd be like, man, there's no issues. And I'm sure there's a lot of you out there where you're like, man, I'm not running into these issues that everyone's running into. But the sample size of a lot of people is going to be able to find these.
It's not even just about the sample size of a lot of people. I mean, a lot of these people that say, I don't have any bugs. There ain't no bugs. What do you mean? I'm not having issues whatsoever. I ain't having no problem. What do you mean bugs? Buddy, you played for one game and hopped off, dude. You played for a single match and hit the road. I played for 8 hours. I'm obviously putting in more time than you. Of course I'm going to find the bugs. And of course, the more that those things stack, dude. All right, I'm going to put it this way. Let's say you're in a relationship, okay? You got a boyfriend, girlfriend. I don't care. Doesn't matter. None of my business, right? Let's say you're in a relationship and somebody does something. You don't like that thing, right? You communicate you don't like that thing. They say, okay, you're right. My bad. I'm not going to do it again. All right. They do that thing again. My bad. Didn't mean to do it. It's on me. All right. It's okay. Not a problem. Just, a little reminder. They do it again. Like, oh, shit. 3 times. That one kind of hurts, And all of a sudden they do it the 4th time. You're like, hey, what the f are you doing? That's like, I feel like the issue is the amount that it stacks up, right? Like that's where it like gets a little frustrating, is that the more that I played throughout the day, it wasn't like I'm sitting there and I'm like, dang bug, ugh, the worst. It's like, dang bug, the worst. And then dang bug, the worst. Dang bug, the worst. Dang, but what the f y'all doing over there? Damn, would you stop it? Fix it. God dang. That's how it felt. Like at some point you just get tired of it not coming down to skill, and you're sat there and you're like, all right, bro, like what am I playing for, dude? Like they are actively just screwing me over. So it's like when you're putting in the time and you're putting in the effort and Call of Duty's giving you then it sucks. So that's why these things are so bad. It's not like, oh, it's just a bug, bro. It's going to be all right. It's 83 bugs that got me killed 6 times today on games where I had 22 kills, and I can't even use it because I was at 6th circle, right? Like it wasn't even close enough. So I don't know.
Issues.
Or content creator.
And I think the game overall, like if it worked, and there weren't any bugs, and there weren't any crashes, and there weren't any ricochet, anti-cheat issues, the game's pretty good. Like,
I think with like everything he just said right there, this game could get 0 content. None. 0 content. If it had no bugs, no cheaters, we would be thriving. This game would actively have a massive player base if they never even updated the thing, but they fixed every bug in the game. I'm telling you, it is crazy. I realize to say that out loud, but boy, oh boy, I'm serious.
The Warzone version, maybe it's not as good as the nostalgia version because you want your vehicles and whatever, and it could be better. But overall, it would be good because I jump on and have fun and I can play. But I run into an issue and I'm like, I'm going to go jump on Dark Souls and go finish my run through over there. So yeah, it's not perfect and it never will be perfect. And most games aren't.
And to be clear, that's the Steam player base, right? That's what he is right there when he said, go play Dark Souls. That's the Steam player base. That's not the PlayStation player base. These dudes hops on, they're hopping in with the boys. They're trying to have fun with their friends. Like he's hopping in, he's playing solo as hell. I don't know. I played with JGod one time. I hopped in with him on Rebirth for a singular game. That's all I could do with JGod. This dude is a solo god. That's all he does. He just plays solo randoms. It's crazy, this man. I love him, but hot damn, brother. You want a game, dog? Like, shoot.
Perfect, because they can always be improved on if you're really nitpicking. But these aren't even to the point where they need to be nitpicked. These are like just blatant issues where if I'm playing a game, you lose your gun, like, that's kind of like a big deal. Yeah. I might as well back out, close the game, uninstall, right? And people are like, well, why do you post content and blah, blah, blah? I'm like, we built kind of a community
Hold up. I'm sorry. Wrapping back around to the beginning of the video. Y'all remember when I said JGod was going to say something that explained a very important thing that I think y'all needed to hear? This is it. This is it right here. Everybody's like, play another game. Listen to what he says. Okay? I'm gonna skip back just a hair. Okay?
Install, right? And people were like, well, why do you post content and blah, blah, blah? I'm like, we built kind of a community for several different ways. Even before Warzone came out, we did informative news, loadout, all those types of things, tips, tricks, tutorial, whatever. And then we were already over 100,000 subs, and Warzone came out, COVID, there was a pop off. There was a niche, and I felt that hole. Of a lot of people.
Hey, yo, JGod, what hole you filling, dog? Shee, my boy out here, he a freak, dog. He hot damn, brother. I mean, good looking dude.
People that watch the content, and regardless if you like me or my opinions, you're here for whatever reason. I don't know why. If you don't like me and you're here, then you still, for some reason, want to know what I have to say. I don't know what to tell you, bro. Quit hate watching.
Yeah, dude, I think that's one of the funny things about being a content creator. I know, like a lot of people look at content creators, they treat them like celebrities or whatever. At the end of the day, we're just dudes with opinions. Most of us egotistical assholes. People that just need attention, you know? But I think that's the funniest thing is that there are people in the world. I get comment, you know what? This is hey, story time. I get comments so often of someone being like, bro, I hate your videos. I wish you'd quit upload. I get these comments every day. Every day. Never fails. They're a public subscriber. So I can see the little like circle with the little play button in it whenever I'm going through my comments, and I can see public subscriber, 3 years. Public subscriber, 4 years. Public subscriber, 3 days. I'm like, well, maybe he's not been there long enough, you know? Maybe he'll figure it out. Maybe he stops hate watching. Maybe he doesn't turn into the 3 or 4 year dude. It's just all so goofy, bro. It's wild that people will be like, God dang it, you suck. Why are you here, bro? Why are you leaving a comment, dude? You know, I will bring this up every time I get a chance. Do you know what I do? You know what I do so I don't have to say stupid stuff? I write it down and then I delete it. And then I leave the video. Do that. Like, do that. Like, I don't know who needs to hear this, but you leaving a hate comment is probably the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. Every time someone does that, I'm like, damn, bro, you wasted all that time. You wasted your life energy to say some like hateful stuff. What a boring ass life you got that you got time to do that, bro. Like, that's crazy. Like, and you want somebody to feel bad. Is that you out there wanting people to feel bad, you freak? That's a crazy amount of self-importance right there. But man, I just, I don't get it, dude. Like, just click off, bro. Just hit the road. People obviously watch for a reason. You know, it's like, hey, Expel, why don't you leave and play another game? Well, I spent 15 years building a community over on Call of Duty. These people like my content. They come back on the daily and they watch it. We get at least 1 million views a month now. So should I leave those people and just not say a word and just go do something else? Hope that maybe they're interested in some random thing that I do? Or do I deliver the thing that I'm there to provide value for? I'll let you decide for yourself there, son. Use your brain a little bit, okay? All right, okay.
Like, there's other people that cover news too. It's okay. Yeah. And one of the main sources for information, news, updates, kind of the state of the game, and loadout stuff. When they actually do update the weapons, we can cover that stuff. Obviously, we don't have anything right now because they didn't really change much. And based off a couple tweets from Raven, it sounds like they're going to be handling more information now.
Yep.
Handle a little bit more transparency. I don't know.
I'd like to think I did that. It was me. I made it happen. You're welcome, everyone. That's such a load of crap.
But regardless, they say they're buffing the PPSH and they're nerfing the XM4. And I'd rather save a loadout video for them. Instead of posting a video now, 3 days, they change it, and then I got to do another one. Doesn't really make much sense. I'll just give you a good one when it's time to be done. But regardless, there's a lot of people that watch this channel that haven't played the game in 3 months, 6 months, a year. And they check out the videos And I'm sure you're in the comment section. You'll say,
I think this is a very important part in the video.
yeah, that's me. But realistically, there are people that watch the channel and they do not play the game, and they either they like what I have to say, or they're trying to just stay up to date, because when I give that video that says Warzone is back, which hopefully I'll be able to do at some point, maybe not. But if I do that video, they will go, all right, I'm going to go check it out and I'm going to play it, and I hope I have fun. And if I have fun, and then I'm going to invite my friends, and then hopefully they have fun, and then we're playing again. I mean, the party feature's all busted right now, and a lot of those issues. So it's like, even those types of things are holding people back from being able to be encouraged to just stay on the game because their friends are on. There's a lot of those things where it's not like I'm going to just stop making content because the game's bad. Like, what? Like, oh, you should just go play.
I'm sorry. Someone needs to, hey, can somebody go in and please make this a meme?
What? Like, like what? Like,
I'm sorry.
What? Like, like what? Like,
oh, I love you, brother.
oh, you should just go play. I'm playing plenty of other games, and even back during peak Verdansk, I wasn't no life in the game. I would spend 7-8 hours testing in Plunder. Now, luckily, there's a lot of in-game data.
Yep.
There's True Game Data's website.
All right, listen. JGod's got a lot to say. He got about 40 seconds left. I think he's basically wrapping it up. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the comment section of this video, okay? I'm going to scroll down. Hold on. We're almost there. I'm almost there. All right. Let's go to the comments. Let's kind of read what we got going on. So, T-Dog Smitty, how about just joining a friend's party? We got issues before we even loaded into the game. I will say they fixed that. It is fixed. Stone Mountain, I haven't played for 2 months, still watching to see what's going on. That does make sense. The Prepared Father said, I haven't played in almost 4 months. I slide by your channel because you're honest. You're not someone obsessed with glazing the game or hating on it. You're straightforward, truthful, and observant. You cover more than just your experience, and you're refreshing my memory as to why I exactly quit playing. Respect. I think a lot of these are kind of interesting and fall along that same thing. I can't wait until you find your new game, because your content was definitely a part of an arc that saw me go from a 0.66 KD in Modern Warfare 2019 to a 1.15 in Black Ops 6, but I'll never play COD again. Been so much happier since quitting the game back in December. I think this is a lot of people. The game this game literally cured my addiction. Thank you, COD. Shout out to Black Ops 6. We don't have to play Call of Duty anymore. Yay. Yeah, yay. No more Call of Duty. Warzone 1 was so simple and crisp, and that's why all my friends would play, even at a below average skill level. Warzone 3, they didn't even want to buy the game because Warzone 2 was so bad. This is why first impressions matter so much. More complicated, and now it's adding more, plus the weapons and time. We don't have all that time like we did in Warzone 1. And I think it's important that we say Call of Duty should not require people that play Warzone to level up weapons. They should also vault weapons. They should vault maps. They should bring out new maps, bring back old maps, do map rotations. They should bring back old weapons, bring in new weapons. Like, if they just followed the Fortnite steps, like if they just bar for bar just started on Fortnite, bro, like easy peasy W right there. I mean, he's getting there, bro. I think what's finally catching up to Activision, that people don't want to pay $70 for a game just to beta test it for a year and then have this next game start from scratch and basically beta test that game again. I remember playing Warzone 1 and loved making the game become something amazing and new. Once Caldera came out, I realized we weren't beta testing to make the overall game a better experience for future generations of the... He just gave up halfway through that sentence. What the hell happened? The regression from Warzone 1 to what we have now is genuinely staggering. They pretty much took every element of Warzone 1 that worked and changed it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think there are things that can get a great update, but I think the problem is that we reset every single year. Please, for the love of God, make Warzone standalone. And I will note, actually, I think, hold on. I think there's a, hold up. We can go to Twitter. Give me just a second. I'm going to go to it. So if I go through my tweets real quick. Cool. Hey, by the way, Black Ops 3 video, bussin' on the channel from yesterday. It's not about streaming if you wanted to check that out. But this right here, my gut feeling is that Warzone's Black Ops, this is the last thing we're going to hit, by the way. My gut feeling is that Warzone's Black Ops 6 integration will be the last true integration it'll have. I'm certain Raven Software is tired of cleaning up the mess from other studios, and it's clear they're losing players solely due to forced yearly integration. Now, I could go through and read everything. I'm going to read James Cowles. Actually, we're going to skip James Cowles. I'm going to go to here, view quotes. This guy right here. So, American Jedi said, I hope you're right. If you read the community update from January 17th, they had this to say about future updates. As a parting thought, we want to take a moment to reflect on the significance of Black Ops 6's integration, the largest in Call of Duty's history, which, for the first time, has brought our teams and products together into a unified development environment. While this transformation has presented its share of obstacles, it also paves the way for more ambitious updates and closer collaboration in the future, which is kind of an L. We're essentially laying a foundation to make new technology immediately available for all our studios, improving development pipelines and the stability of porting features between titles and allowing us to focus more of our time on future releases. He linked it, and he went on to say, it sounds good. Basically, what I would say is it sounds like they're trying to make it where everything's just actually unified, or they're trying to say to other games. It's literally toss up for me is I feel like they're basically going to let it be chosen what gets ported over. I think that is what we're going to see, and I think that is what's going to make the biggest difference. But either way, I of course would love to hear your opinions in a comment down below. I swear I'm going to read them. I do actually read comments. I hope you know that. I read comments every single day for multiple hours a day. It's actually an unhealthy obsession of mine. I like to get very annoyed with people spouting slurs at me often. Weird thing to do in my daily. I should probably stop that. Anyway, thanks so much. Do me a favor, if you enjoyed, subscribe to the channel. I'm leaving. And so are you. To go watch my video from yesterday where we checked out Black Ops 3. Or you can just subscribe and come back later. I don't know. Up to you.